Bonjour! And today I invite you to take a walk with me through the streets and the history of the beautiful city of Rouen in Normandy. You can take a train from la Gare Saint-Lazare in Paris, and it will take you to Gare de Rouen. It takes 1 hour 37 minutes. And the price was 25 euros 80 cents. So if you're in Paris for around 4 or 5 days and you want to see something different, you want to see a little bit more of France, this is a one-day trip that you can do and enjoy the vast history that the city has to offer. So the city of Rouen began over 2 millennia ago. Its tapestry is rich with threads of the Roman Empire. They established a port settlement known as Ratomagus during the 1st century after Christ. Now we're looking at the crown jewel of Rouen, its cathedral, Notre Dame de Rouen. The construction began in the 12th century, a time when Gothic architecture was all the rage. And Claudet Monet, the father of Impressionism, was a master of capturing the effects of light. But one subject held a particular fascination for him, and it was the majestic Rouen Cathedral. So in the 1890s, Monet embarked on an ambitious project, painting the cathedral 28 times. With its intricate details, it really looks like embroidery. It's a Gothic style. In spires and the stained glass windows for a symphony of forms and texture just waiting to be translated onto a canvas. And if you've seen the paintings from Monet, even though there is a special technique that he used, but when you get the opportunity to visit Rouen and see the cathedral, you will realize that he was able to capture the texture of the stone. So because he was so captivated by the ever-changing play of the light in the surface of the cathedral, he rented studios that will have a window toward the cathedral. And that way he was able to capture the moment and the magic that unfolds when we truly observe the world around us, in the ever-changing light of a single day. It's known that Monet would set up multiple canvases at once, quickly capturing the essence of a particular lighting condition before the sun shifted. The way the cathedral cast iron spire was completed in the 19th century, and it was once the tallest structure in France till La Tour Eiffel stole its place. The cathedral is open Tuesdays to Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., Sundays and holidays 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And on Mondays, it opens at 2 p.m. till 7 p.m. I remind you that to visit the cathedral is totally free. And you know what, it's also free? Guess what? Our channel. You can subscribe and we send you love from France with love. And let's share the love with family and friends so we can keep growing the community and showing you all the beautiful places from France. Thanks to all of our subscribers that keep motivating us. So the story of the cathedral is all but sunshine, because we have to remember that the cathedral has stood witness to World War I, and thankfully it didn't inflict major damages to the cathedral. In 1918, a German airplane, lost and out of control, crashed into a nearby street. This near miss solidified the cathedral as a symbol of hope for the city during dark times, and the locals, they took it as a sign that Rouen and its magnificent landmark will endure. Here is the heart of Richard the Lion-Hearted. He was the Duke of Normandy and King of England. He died in 1199. If you have seen my video, The French Royal Cemetery, you will remember that the heart was always buried apart. But in the Second World War, however, it wasn't as gentle, and in 1944, the Allied bombing campaign leading up to the D-Day, Rouen was heavily hit. The cathedral wasn't spared, and 7 bombs pierced the roof, one even landing in the choir. Thankfully, it did not explode. The south side chapels were almost completely destroyed. Devastation. There is a story of resilience, and one small chapel dedicated to St. Catherine miraculously survived. Nowadays, it's called the Miraculous Chapel. We are at the chapel dedicated to Saint Joan d'Arc, and it's said that since the age of 13, Jeanne has heard the voices of Saint Catherine and Saint Michel. Her voices tell her to drive the English out of France, to deliver Orléans and crown the king at Reims. That's a place where all the kings in France have been crowned. She had an standard where it was embroidered the name of Jesus and Virgin Mary. Let's talk about the Second World War. It wasn't as gentle as the first, and during the Allied bombing campaign leading up to the D-Day, Rouen was heavily hit, and the cathedral wasn't spared. 7 bombs pierced the roof, one even landing in the choir. Thankfully, that one did not explode. Southside chapels were almost completely destroyed, a stark reminder of the war's brutality. But even in devastation, there is a story of resilience, and one small chapel dedicated to St. Catherine miraculously survived. And nowadays they call it La Chapelle Miraculeuse, the miraculous chapel. Stands today as a testament to hope and the enduring spirit of Rouen. They have to rebuild the whole city, and it was a tremendous effort to restore the cathedral to its former glory. It took decades. When we left the cathedral, we found that in the square they were celebrating the carnival. It's a carnival party that they were having in Rouen, and they had a representation of the Vikings. They came in waves throughout the 9th century, and they sacked and burned the city. Resistance was growing in the region. As a matter of fact, Rouen was the place where they settled. And late in the 9th, early in the 10th century, when the leader, Rollo, established himself in Rouen, he embraced French culture. And Rollo, a fearsome Viking leader, became the first Duke of Normandy. And we're looking at the Palace of Justice. This architectural gem, with its Gothic roots and flamboyant Renaissance flourishes, whisper tales of kings, revolutionaries, and courtroom dramas that unfolded with its grand walls. The city fathers, they needed a space for legal matters, and they acquired the market, where they commissioned a building. It combined judicial and financial functions, and in the 16th century, King François I transformed the building into the Parliament of Normandy. At that time, the facade undergoes a flamboyant makeover, adorned with intricate sculptures depicting scenes from everyday life. When the French Revolution arrives, it brings dramatic change, as the parliament was abolished, and it becomes the Palace of Justice, the role that it continues to serve as of today. But World War II damaged the palace, and as you can see, all the halls, they are really huge. I was surprised to see a structure like this one, because it's a beautiful structure with the bombing damage. Normandy also it's well known for its half timbering constructions. It's a technique where a wooden frame is filled with brick and stones or plaster infill. The method creates a distinctive visual effect, exposing the wooden beams. And here we can admire the Gros Horloge or Great Clock. It's also called the Rouen's Beating Heart. This marvel of medieval engineering, it's a masterpiece with history. The clock is installed in a Renaissance arch, crossing the Rue du Gros Horloge, having been made in the year of 1389. It was added in the year of 1529, when the clock was moved to its current position as we can see it today. The Renaissance facade represents a golden sun with 24 rays on the blue background. It tracked the moon phases and the sun's position and even the zodiac signs. It's also an astronomical clock. If you like astronomical clocks, I will suggest for you to see my video on Strasbourg, as the cathedral has a wonderful astronomical clock. To the Museum of Fine Arts and its surroundings. And the museum is free, and it surprises us because it does have a great collection. They have a garden in front of the museum, and as you can see, it's beginning of spring, so people come out to enjoy the sun. It was a beautiful day. They come out and they have picnics. In front you have the Office of Tourism, so if you have any doubt or if you want a map, they will be able to help you. Here we are at the Musée Les Secs de Tournelle. It's a museum of ironwork. So if you enjoy seeing a collection that is unique to the world, it includes elements of architecture. And if you are tired of walking, you can hop on the train and go around the city. Liberty Square pulsates with history. It has two iconic figures dominating the scene: the stoic statue of Napoleon I and the grand flamboyant Hôtel de Ville, that's the city hall. It's rising majestically behind him. Let me know if you have ever visited Rouen and what are your thoughts about it. What did you enjoy the most doing here when you came? Dedicate this video to all those who are going to conquer their dreams, just like William I, that left Normandy to conquer the island of England and becoming their king. He was able to govern England and Normandy with separate governments. He did not unify his kingdom and his duchy, but most of the time he was living in the continent, in France, Normandy. That was the way that England got a French king. Here is my favorite church in Rouen, l'Abbatiale Saint-Ouen. It's an abbey, and it's a dazzling testament to the artistry of the Gothic era. The construction began in the 14th century, spanning over 300 years. It is a breathtaking tapestry of architectural styles, with flamboyant Gothic taking center stage. As you approach, intricate stonework and towering stained glass windows hint at the wonders within. On the sides, you can see that it has many cherry blossom trees, and you can sit on a bench and just admire the beautiful abbey. It was built for the Benedictine order, and William the Conqueror was the first Norman king of England, a descendant of Rollo the Viking, who became the first Duke of Normandy. He reigned from 1066 until his death. It's mesmerizing to see all the detail. It looks like a Valencian lace. Fortunately, I was not able to get a recording on the facade because it's been restored. And you can see that on the sides they still have metal supports. Let's go in. Well, here in the inside it has an ethereal beauty because the light streams through the vast stained glass windows. Here, if you would like, you can donate for the restoration of Saint-Ouen. They have a model made out of wood, and it says that it's 137 meters long and it has 33 meters to the ceiling. It was one of the most important monasteries between the 11th and the 16th century. Each stained glass window shows you a biblical story. It has vibrant hues bringing the scriptures to life. Saint-Ouen Abbey has weathered centuries of storms. During World War II, a straight bomb caused significant damage, similarly to the stained glass windows. However, the restoration efforts have brought the abbey back to its form and glory. The stained glass looks like a kaleidoscope. This well-preserved stained glass of the nave dates from the 15th and 16th century, and it features jewel stone among panels of clear and frosted glass. Materials allow more light to filter into the nave, creating a brighter interior that is not common to the Gothic churches. Looking through raw iron to the Abbey choir. Usually, this is the area where marriages are officiated. It is worthy of kings. But traditionally, French royal weddings were grand affairs held in prominent cathedrals or royal chapels within the cities of Paris or Reims. These locations held immense symbolic and served to solidify the royal lineage's connection to the church and the people. We have to remember that at that time, this church was extremely powerful here in France and in Europe in general. Rollo, the first Duke of Normandy, that he was a Viking, he was buried here. And the original tomb was destroyed during the French Revolution. In the 19th century, a replacement of the sarcophagus was made, so he's resting in this place. Richard I, the Duke of Normandy, and he was the son of Rollo. He was also buried here. During his time, that Normandy adopted Christianity. The church contains a large four-manual pipe organ built in 1890. This instrument is considered to be one of the most important organs in France. This organ stands on altar and it continues to work with its original voice. The abbey buildings were confiscated at the time of the French Revolution and they were subsequently occupied by the town hall of Rouen. Was one of the largest and most prosperous cities of medieval Europe. From the 13th century onwards, the city experienced a remarkable economic boom, thanks in particular to the development of textile factories and river trade. Both the French and the English during the 100-Year War. Today we see lots of people in the streets. The day is warm and very sunny. The city is really alive. And now we're going to enjoy the Rouen Carnival. And the party takes place in the square that is located in front of the church of Saint Maclou. Everybody is wearing costumes and they're playing instruments. They have a band. When you are in France, it's impossible not to be surrounded by pastries. It's a feast not only for the eyes, but also for the palate. The desserts are not too sugary. They have natural flavors, and that really it enhances. We found this plaque that reads, "Near here, on Wednesday, May the 30th, 1431, after the torture of the market, Jeanne d'Arc ashes were thrown into the Seine from the top of the old Mathilde Bridge." So Joan d'Arc that we saw at the cathedral, she was a peasant girl and she was illiterate. And during the 100 Years' War between England and France, she led the French army to victory. As the English forces had occupied a vast territory in France, Jeanne, a young woman, she claimed to have received divine visions urging her to save the country, France. In 1430, through a series of political machinations, Joanne found herself captured by Burgundians and forced and handed over to the English. She was took to Rouen, where a court composed primarily of pro-English charged her with heresy and witchcraft. Jeanne was condemned and sentenced to burn in the stake in Rouen's old marketplace. And leaving the tragedy, we arrived to the Rouen Opera House. It's a product of modern architecture. It's nice to see people enjoying the square Vertrel with its waterfall. You have lots of green spaces in Rouen where you can choose from and enjoy the day. And we're walking toward la Gare de Rouen to get on our train and go back home. I hope you enjoy it as much as we did to visit Rouen, a beautiful city full of history. See you on our next video.